Okay, let's take a look at our domain and range here. All right, looking at my x values, it does kind of look like I'm stopping right about here, or starting right about here, and then I'm moving forward from there and around the curve and bend and off in this direction. So in theory, if I keep going that way, I'm going to hit all these x values in the negative sense. And in terms of capping my x values, I'm not going past 5 on x. So my domain would be the set of x such that my x values are going to be less than or equal to 5, and I'm including every single x value after or before 5, I should say, not after 5, before 5. So x is an element of the real number system. Now in terms of range, my y value looks like, that dot looks like it's at about a half. So let's say it's at about a half. It's hard to read, but let's assume it is. Our y, our range is equals the set of y such that we have a low value of a half, and then again we're going on and on and on, up and up and up in this direction. My y values are going to get bigger and bigger. My y has to be greater than or equal, let's go 0.5, I'm estimating that value there. It is a closed circle, so I am using the equal sign with that greater than symbol. And y, oops, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, y is an element of the real number system. Okay, the next example has an open circle, and that open circle is happening when x is -7. So that means when I put my -7 in for my restriction on my domain, I'm not going to put the equal sign this time. So my domain is the set of x such that my x has to be greater than -7, and I continue on and on in this direction afterwards, and I'm going to keep on moving outwards with my x values. So x has to be greater than -7, and x is an element of the real number system because we're using a continuous curve as opposed to just individual dots. And then my range is the set of y such that, all right, looking at y values, it looks like I'm going on and on downwards, so I don't have a lower limit on my range, but I do have a top value here at 6. So my y is going to be less than or equal to 6 because it looks like it's including that value, and y again is an element of the real number system because it is a solid graph. There's no just individual points. All right, this last example, I'm looking for x values here. It looks like I'm using a -8, and then I'm jumping a whole bunch, and then I'm using a 0 for this point down here. I'm using a 2, and I'm using a 7. So because these ones are individual points, these are the ones where I'm going to have x just being specific values. So we used -8, we used 0, we used 2, and we used 7, and we left out all of the other points. We didn't join them together. In terms of range, my smallest y value was -8. Okay, so I'm looking down here. My lowest y value was -8. The next lowest was this one, which is -1. And then we're using a y value of +1 and another y value way up here at +8. So those are our 4 values that we include in our range on this one.